Processor bottleneck is not a black and white thing. There's a big difference between tolerable and painful. Let's check how different bottlenecks can actually look and how to tell them apart. We'll start with a 14600K, then downgrade it in the BIOS to imitate a range of older and slower CPUs by disabling cores and reducing frequency. It's not a direct representation of those processors because of differences in architecture, but it's more than good enough for this purpose. Let's quickly go over what we see in the overlay. The first two we all know about: total GPU and CPU usage. This, however, shows the most loaded processor core, and it's very important because total usage might be at 60%, while one or two cores could be at 100 or close to it, and that's a bottleneck for sure. This shows how much time it took for the GPU to draw the frame, and this one, how much time the whole system took before displaying the frame. And this is the difference between the two. Anything above around 5% usually means the graphics card is waiting too long and not being fully utilized, which we don't want. And these are the frame time and frame rate charts. The smoother they are, the better. No issues here. This is how a balanced system should look. Moving to a 6-core CPU at 4.4 GHz. Still no real issues besides a few slight drops in GPU usage, and higher processor load at around 50%. We are, however, starting to see individual cores nearing 80% usage, which is not ideal and means the processor is working noticeably harder now. But overall, it still holds up well and the charts remain smooth. And with 4 cores at 4.3 GHz, we are entering the problem category. We now see occasional graphics card usage drops, high CPU spikes, and while the FPS still holds up reasonably well, the graphs are becoming noticeably more spiky and micro stutters start to appear. At this point, you might want to start considering a processor upgrade. And dropping those same 4 cores to their base frequency of 3.3 GHz fully loads the CPU, while the graphics card starts taking short vacations. And the graphs forget what a straight line used to look like. FPS drops also become very noticeable here, and we enter the performance left on the table category. If you're seeing this with your setup, then it's time. You know what I'm talking about. And just for the fun of it, here is what a 2-core processor would look like. No need to explain anything here. Makes you want to punch your monitor, right? Look at the active time deviation. That basically means the GPU is mostly resting and waiting on the processor to give it something to do. I doubt many people have a system this unbalanced. But if you do, a huge part of your graphics card is basically going to waste. But in the end, not every bottleneck is an emergency. Thanks for watching.